What's going on, everyone on YouTube? So I'm gonna look at another stock today. Today's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna look at a stock that doesn't pay a dividend, but if I wanted to add it to my portfolio, it might be a more riskier move. So I thought about adding it for the growth portion and not because it doesn't have a paid dividend. Now, some of the things you need to know that in my portfolio for my dividend stock, it has to pay dividend. It has to be good growth, and it has to be financially stable. It's the requirement for my dividend paying stock. But I want to look at this stock today because it had great news on it.
Beyond Meat's stock price was here. But now, a big bite has been taken out of that.
Now it's down, and it looks like it's going to have start a turnaround. Everyone's saying to sell the stock, and what is that stock? Beyond Meats. So Beyond Meat.
Short squeeze candidate in terms of a stock that I would like to own, but it's one that I think investors might want to take a look at, and it's Beyond Meat.
That is a choice for a vegan option. Now, if you didn't know, there's a percentage of the population right here that is a vegetarian, and this is to goes towards them. It's supposed to be a healthier option, and they do have a lot of partnerships. So let's look at some of the partnerships. And here are some of the places that sells Beyond Meat. Now, do I just go off the sponsorship and everything else like that? No. Now, if you're gonna go to my channel and think I'm gonna go in depth, this is not the channel for you. I only go over what's on MSN and my opinion on it. I don't really like going into in depth unless I'm really gonna throw a large amount of money into the company. And this one is just a initial look at. So let's look at this stock Beyond Meat.
It's an enormous disruption in the sense of this is going to be something that displaces animal protein. There was a very big pushback from the animal protein market. That takes time to get through. And I think we're now beginning to near the end of that, and people are starting to see again, hey, these are really good products for my health. They're very important for the environment, and most importantly, they taste great.
We go to the 1 month. It looks like it's starting to go back up. And if you look at the 5 days, it's starting to have a positive trend of 3% in 5 days. So this stock is starting to show, hey, it might turn around for the better. So it might have just broke out of the slump. Now, if you didn't know what a penny stock is, here's the definition on the screen. But that's a penny stock, and this is considered a penny stock, and it's a really risky stock. Now, with really risky stocks, you can get really, really good returns, and Beyond Meat, it could be one of them. Now, the 1 year is still on the decline, 3 years is still on the decline, and the 5 years is still on the decline. So, based off the charts right here, it's still on the decline. But the 5 days, and looking at this 1 month mark, maybe it finally got out of its slump and starting to go back up. So it might be the perfect chance to get into it. It might have broke the lower barrier and able to go back up. Now, what does AI say about it? Like I said, this one does not have a dividend payout, so I wouldn't add this to my dividend portfolio, but I could add this into my investment portfolio if I wanted to. So let's look at this. So the AI said the growth is 4 out of 6, the health is 5 out of 6, valuation is 2 out of 6, and earning is 3 out of 6. And then performance is 0 out of 6. I agree with the performance. The health, I really don't agree with 5 out of 6, but hey, that's what they are saying. And the analyst does say sell this stock, which if I'm looking at this, it looks like in 2025 into 2026, it's going to have an increase according to that analyst price. So if we look at the graph, it looks like it's starting to go up again in the 1 day. And if you didn't know, penny stocks, you can get some great returns on them. Let's see. The only issue is it's been plummeting since the IPO launch, and I don't blame them. You know, they have some issues with this stock. All right, I can't look at the but let's look at the finance. Let's see how financially they are doing. So I need the full screen for this to look off. 2017 to 2024. It did have a good increase until 2022, the COVID year looks like. 2023 it dropped, and 2024 it dropped. So it dropped in sales or in revenue. That's not very good. Now, if you look at the cost of goods, it was cut in half, but the price of revenue wasn't cut in half. That's pretty interesting there. Now, if you want, let's look at the actual gross margin. It's only 12.77%, so they don't actually have a good gross margin. And the net profit is negative 49%. I just can't invest in anything that's in the negative year over year. So, investment wise, it doesn't make sense to invest into a company that's losing money. Now, it does look like it's a good company and they're trying to do something different, but just for the money wise, they're in a negative. And earning per share revenue, it's almost all in a negative. So, I don't think it's a good investment stock, even though it has a lot of hype on it. Now, it doesn't look like anyone really sells the stock. So these people get granted the stock and they kind of hold on to it, which is not a bad thing. So let's talk about this stock and see my opinion on Beyond Meat after looking at the MSN reports on them and their finances. Personally, I believe they're trying to do a good deed, but they're marketing it wrong, in my personal belief. Because if you're trying to get to the average consumer, you're going to have to beat the prices of meat. And right now, the meat prices is cheaper than Beyond Meat. And the other issue is Beyond Meat is highly processed meat or imitation meat. So it's very processed and it goes with the good and bad news. Because the health conscious people, news can change about processed food every single year. It could be good some years, it could be bad, and that's going to really affect the stock price. And looking at the finance and how much they're spending, how much they're making, I don't know how they stay open with being in a negative for that long. And they might have a lot of money in the bank or they might have a lot of different stuff. It's not worth investing into a company that is that far in the negative. So that's my opinion on Beyond Meat. They're not marketing it to the right people. Their price point isn't where it's supposed to be. And if they're trying to target this small audience right here of health conscious people with that doesn't eat meat, guess what? You're not gonna get a good turnaround point. Yes, people are gonna want to eat healthier, but the problem is eating healthier is based on the economy. If people aren't able to afford to eat healthier, they're gonna go with the cheaper option. That's just how the people are. People are gonna go with stuff they can afford. This is why the dollar value and the store brand stuff get bought so often because of the savings on the amount of money. Now, does it taste good as the actual main product? Some does, some don't. But this Beyond Meat, it's not bad. It's not the best tasting. Does it kind of taste like meat? Yeah. But the issue is if they want to make money, their price point has to be slightly cheaper than meat. And then they'll be able to sell it as a health conscious and cheaper option than meat. Because just like almond milk or non milk product like this one right here, it was an option for the to be cheaper, also for alternate than milk. So they did very well. Now with this meat product, they're going against the meat sector, and they're not cheaper. They're actually more expensive. So unless you're a wealthy person, you're really not gonna be buying it. Even if you want them to try it, you know, it's all about what people can afford. And if people can't afford it, it really doesn't make sense to buy Beyond Meat. Even if you're trying to eat healthier, not everyone can afford to eat healthier. So, like, subscribe to my video. And that's all I got you about Beyond Meat. I don't recommend buying it just because of the finance, but it looks like it is going to have a turnaround. So, if you look at the number again and you see that the 5 days, it looks like it might be having an increase about 3 to 6%. If it beats this curve right here, you're going to end up having a skyrocket stock. It's gonna jump in pricing. So, like, subscribe to my video, and that's all I got.